Hey everybody, it's Peggy. I'm back again with another video, and today I am babbling while working, but I ended up with a list of questions of things that I've encountered recently that I would like. It's like I just kind of make little notes if I happen to be at the computer, and it's like, oh, this is a good one, this is a good one, this is a good one to address on a video, right? So I kind of realized I had a list of things that could be super, super short and easy that don't really need a whole video all to themselves. So I am going to start at the top and go through, and if I'm smart, I'll go back later. And if I'm smart, I will swing back later and put timestamps so that each topic is in the comments. So, and I think I'll have time for that. I am busy working today. I'm just cutting some fabric, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm not doing anything all that special, but I have to get it done. I'm kind of working on a deadline today. Anyway, so you guys get to visit the top of my head while I cut fabric, but I'm going to go through this list and we're going to see how much I can get to and see if I'm going to end up with a too long video. Hopefully it won't be too tedious or long. So we're going to address this stuff one at a time, and then I'm going to do a lot of editing later. It's always easy to do it later, isn't it? And I'm going to start. I really need to start putting a bit of a disclaimer up. I swear a lot. And if that is something that just really doesn't work for you, then now you're aware. But I'm trying to swear less. I'm trying to swear less and see if it actually makes a difference. But yeah, it's a bad habit. Anyway, so let's just get to it, and we'll see where this takes us. Okay, first one, and I'm not going to number them. I always do this thing. I always go number 1, number 2, number 3, and then I just stop. I never remember the number 1. Okay, so the first one I'm looking at here is 5% of customers cause 95% of the problems. Okay, so this one here is really simple. The reason why this matters and the reason why this is important, and I just addressed it in a video that I made like 5 minutes ago. When I'm on a roll, I like to do 2 or 3 videos at once. 5% of the problem. 5% of customers cause 95% of the problems. Well, what also happens is that same thing, and it's true. Oh my God, it's true. But the same thing happens on the social medias. 5% of the group members, the viewers, 5%. If you're going to get bad advice, 5% of the people giving out bad advice cause 95% of the problems that the people receiving the advice then experience as a result of it. And it's true. I have watched social media conversations unfold where somebody's getting really, really crappy advice. Other people, like this is, you post a question in whatever form you're in. You post a question, people answer, other people answer, right? I have seen the same I've seen comment threads where like people are commenting, and it's the same people over and over again giving the really bad advice, and then if you take their advice, you're coming back a few weeks later going, "It's shut me down, and I don't know why." I was like, well, because you took those people's advice, and yeah. It takes time and practice to start sorting out where the good advice is and where the bad advice is. But yeah, be aware of it. I mean, I'm the first to admit that sometimes my advice won't help you. Depending on if I give advice based on my experience selling things that I sew, that's not necessarily going to help you if what you're doing. Okay, like I don't do digital, right? So I can give a few generic pieces of information about digital, but that's it. That's where it stops. And if I try to say more, I could end up giving bad advice, right? So be aware that it does happen. You can find yourself in environments. There's one social media group where a woman come in and said, blah, 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 a customer was mean to me. I don't know what to do, blah, blah, blah. And people in the group were literally saying, you just write back to her and tell her to fuck off and you don't need her business. And she's like, I can't speak to a customer like that, And other people are coming in going, no, literally, I have typed literally those words to a customer and blah, blah, blah. And it was okay. It was fine. And it's like, other people are coming in going, it's only fine until that customer reports you for doing it. And if that customer reports you, that is a level of hostility that can put your shop at risk, right? No, it is not. That, the 5% come back. No, it is not. This is not how this works, blah, blah, blah. It's your business. You can run it any way you want. Sure enough, she went in, she told her customer to fuck off, come back a couple weeks later. I don't know. I no longer have a business. I don't know why. Well, because you listen to those guys, right? Anyway, there's great advice to be found online. Don't get me wrong. But if somebody is giving you advice that if somebody's giving you advice that if somebody's giving you advice that just seems a little too good to be true, then yeah, like just take the time to check into it, right? Or to ask people that seem a little calmer and seem a little bit less insistent, that they know I'm an expert, I know exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, I'm an expert when it comes to some of this shit, but I'm the first one that's going to tell you, ooh, I don't think I've got advice that's going to help you because my experience does not match what you're trying to do. Anyway, and that's just number one. Number one. Because the bigger problems that we are seeing in the Etsy community are not coming from the shitty things that Etsy are doing. It's coming from the shitty things that other Etsy sellers are saying and doing and then advocating for. Anyway, I made that one last for 6 minutes. What's the next one? Stealth advertising. Oh my God. Okay, stealth advertising. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Stealth advertising, and most of the time when you're doing it, you know it. So I don't think I have to... Stealth advertising is when you ask a question that you clearly know the answer to. You ask the same question over and over and over again. And sooner or later, people start figuring out that's what you're doing. But anyway, stealth advertising is when you take every opportunity to share your shop link. And now that's not just, hi, I'm having a sale in my shop. That's not stealth advertising. That's just advertising in the wrong places, right? If you're like, okay, like my group I don't allow self-promotion in my group. If you start posting, hey, I'm having a sale this week in my group, then I'm going to take down the post. My group is to help sellers with back end issues, not to promote your products, right? So advertising in the wrong place is a completely different thing, and that's got its own risks. So that's something to be aware of. Stealth advertising is somebody asks a question. I'm asking a question about shipping, blah, blah, blah. Well, if you click on my link and check out my shop, you'll see how I ship, and that might help you. That's stealth advertising. You're just trying to get your link out there. That is, it looks desperate. You're advertising generally speaking, when you're doing it, you're advertising in the wrong place to the wrong people. And it makes you look bad. It makes you look bad. And in a lot of these groups, if you're active enough, people will start getting used to who you are when they see your name and stuff like that. It means that if you ever do have a legitimate problem, people are going to think, oh, you're just trying to advertise your shop again. So they're just not even going to answer you. Seen it happen. Watched it happen. Or they're going to give you shitty advice just to fuck with you or whatever. Back to that 5% again, right? So yeah, if you have a legitimate reason to share your shop link, absolutely share your shop link. But I'm having a question. I don't know whether I should use the red-black background or the green background. Please click on my shop to see which one you like better. That's stealth advertising. Hey, should I use the red or the green background? Show a single product with each background? By the way, I get dry skin and I'm working with fabric. Anyway, and I'm throwing my shit on the floor too. Anyway, stealth advertising will actually, in the long run, harm your business. Because people will stop taking you seriously, so that if you ever do have a problem, they're not going to watch you. You will attract scammers. You will attract scammers. Most scammers are opportunistic, and when you are stealth advertising, especially if you don't have a lot of sales already in your shop, then it makes you look desperate. Doesn't matter if you are desperate. If you look desperate, then you're probably walking around with a bit of a bullseye on your back, and the more you do it, the bigger the bullseye gets. So stealth advertising just pisses people off. Does not encourage anybody to actually be helpful towards you when you do need help. Can attract scammers, and you will be, and if something's going on and you actually do have something useful going on or whatever, I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, stealth advertising is pretty easy to spot. If you're in the social medias for even a little bit, you start getting to spot it. Once you spot it, you just stop responding to that person, and like I said, it becomes a you can become a target for scammers because most of them are opportunistic. And yes, scammers do like to hang out in the forums and the help groups. That is why once you attack, that is why if you are doing things that do attract that kind of attention to yourself, it usually comes in waves. And there's nothing. I mean, sometimes these scammers are fellow sellers. You just don't know who's who, right? These groups get big. My group isn't all that. I mean, nobody in my group has reported being scammed by people in the group, but like there's Etsy groups that are like 10,000, 20,000, well, not even bigger than that. There's a couple of Etsy groups that are like closing in on over 100,000. So yeah. Anyway, stealth advertising looks bad, makes you look bad, loses you a lot of respect among people who sooner or later you're going to have a legitimate question for them. So yeah, just don't do it. Just don't do it. It's a bad look. And I will say that a lot of groups, a lot of the mid-sized groups, which mine is kind of mid-sized, if I spot it, I just get rid of you because it's so disruptive to the group. It is so disruptive to it's a distraction that nobody wants or needs. They're trying to grow their own business. Anyway, next one, extending shipping times. This is hugely fucking important. I do need to do a video on, I do need to do a separate video on it, but I'm just going to touch on this briefly since it's on my list. Don't do it. If your product says, if you do a listing and you say that you're going to ship your product in 3 days, okay, I can't say don't do it. Here are the rules. There are some very clear rules on this, and people lose their shops for this all the time. If your product cannot be shipped on time for any reason whatsoever, your ships by deadline, that's your promise. So if you can't keep that promise, then your policies no longer apply. So I don't give refunds. Yeah, you said you were shipping in 3 days and you didn't ship for 2 weeks. So yeah, your policies don't apply. This is in Etsy's TOS, right? Anything that you put in your policies, and your ships by deadline is one of your policies. Anything that you put in your policies, if you do not meet the requirements of your policy, then you are defaulting straight to Etsy's policy. And so there's one right there. Yeah, I want a refund. I want a refund because this didn't ship on time. I want a refund. Why do you want a refund? Doesn't matter. You didn't ship on time. Okay, there's one. And if you say no, you're now in violation of Etsy's TOS because you didn't ship on time. Number two, this is the big one. This is the part that actually matters more, is you cannot change the shipping deadline without your buyer's consent. And most people, back to that 5%, I have a 24-hour turnaround to get the business, and then as soon as the sale comes in, I switch it out to 2 weeks. That's actually illegal. No cop is coming. You're not going to get arrested for it, but Etsy will not go to court with you, for you, or because of you. So the instant they spot you doing it, they get rid of you, and there is no path to appeal for that. So if you have a 24-hour turnaround, you can have whatever you want, but if you need to change your shipping deadline, you can only do so with the customer's consent. Not I am changing your deadline. It's, hi, I need to change your deadline. Is that okay? And if the customer says, no, actually, it's not okay, then you have to give them a full refund. You cannot go, I charge a restocking fee, I'm giving you a full refund minus 20%. You can't do that. You are in violation of your own policies. Your ships by deadline is part of your policies. The minute you violate your policies, then you lose your rights to do stuff like that. It's not a big deal. It really isn't. Okay, it's not. I've had it happen a couple of times. It's not a big deal. What I'm saying is that you need to contact your customer. You need to say, hey, you don't need to write them a book unless you have a good relationship with them. You just say, hey, some stuff came up. I won't be able to ship on time. I plan on shipping on this date. Is that going to work for you? If they say yes, you're fine. Change the deadline. If they say no, full refund. Full. Every cent they've given to you has to go back. If they do not reply by the original shipping deadline, full refund. Period. And if you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. This is where people get all fucked up. I need to stop. Well, no, we're good. I am going to address this in a more detailed, longer video. But anyway, if you go ahead and change, and this is where people get fucked up. Etsy's not going to find out whether or not you got permission unless they have a reason to review your account. They're not going to review your account unless somebody complains. But here's the thing. If they have to review your account, it doesn't have to be over a shipping complaint. So if you make this your general policy to do this, and we don't know, for all we know, Etsy just wanders in and randomly reviews accounts just because, right? I don't know how this shit works in the background. But it is a terms of service violation that is serious enough. And like I said, changing the shipping deadline, it's basically considered part of it's addressed under anti-competition laws, and it's considered a bit of a bait and switch where you're making a promise that you have no intention of keeping just to get the business. And like I said, there is illegal, go to jail, do not collect $200, and then there's illegal, we can't do business with you because I don't want to go to court and get sued because of you. So it's that kind of illegal. Like maybe big multinationals can end up seeing people with jail time, but no, that's not going to happen. But Etsy's not going to fuck around with this on your behalf. If the instant they find out that you're doing it, they're getting rid of you. And of course, if your shop is otherwise chugging along smoothly with no real issues, it might take them a while to find you, which is where we get back to this 5%. This 5% is boosted by people that are getting away with shit that they think they're allowed to do, but they aren't. Simply because they haven't, everything else is fine, so they haven't had a reason, Etsy's had no reason to look at their account yet. But this is why sometimes people log in one day and go, I don't understand, Etsy shut me down. It's like obviously that's not the only thing that you can do, but there are certain things that you just won't get caught until they have a reason to go in and look at your account. So if you're all about taking that risk, go for it. But if you are adjusting your shipping times without your buyer's consent, because they have to, by law, be given the opportunity to cancel, to go someplace else. If you are changing your shipping deadlines without talking to them and getting their consent, you will lose your shop as soon as you're caught doing it. Because the logic, my assumption, I've worked in the back end of a couple of online businesses, and my assumption based on my experience with those companies, my assumption on what Etsy would do based on my experiences with other companies, I'm saying it right now, is that it's like, well, I mean, we can ignore it, but it's illegal. And since we don't really have the tools in place to catch them immediately, we just need to get rid of them. And that's the logic. 7.5 million sellers with thousands of people signing up every day. Why would they be willing to risk court for you? Simple, right? Anyway, I'm already launching into the longer video. You cannot adjust your shipping times without your buyer's consent. End. Stop. People who tell you otherwise are either full of shit or they just haven't been caught yet. And yeah, Etsy's a big company. 7.5 million sellers. It will take them time to get caught. But then again, you pull that crap on somebody who does know the rules, who decides, nope, I did not consent to this. I want my money back and blah, 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 blah. And you say no, and then they make a complaint. All it takes is for one agent, one time, to have a reason to go in and look at your account, and you're done. It's a huge risk. It's a huge risk, and we don't know. It's a huge risk. We don't know what the parameters are behind the scenes to know when, where, and how people get caught. But if a customer makes a complaint, that could be all it takes, and we don't know. Anyway, that's number one. Do not adjust your shipping times. Next one, VPNs, virtual private networks. Virtual private network is where you have a company. You want to hide your IP address. So you pay for a service that hides your IP address. Etsy doesn't work with those. So they shut them down. There's two things that happens with the VPN. They shut them down as soon as they find them. So you may wake up one day and just simply not be able to log into your account. Now, if that happens, there's two things that are, if that happens and then one of two things has happened. One is they've detected the VPN at the company level and just shut down any VPN that associates with that company. Just turn off your VPN and log in. And that's fine. Just be aware that Etsy doesn't like them. There are there is shit happening. Okay, a lot of people use VPNs in order to engage in illegal activity. So they're a fraud risk. This is why online platforms don't like them. Now, there's always a rumor that these are going to be outlawed and stuff like that. So that's fine. But anyway, so that's number one. Number one is as they are detecting these individual companies, they are blocking access to people using their VPN. So you're either going to have to just turn off your VPN when you're using Etsy or find a different VPN. Number two, a virtual private network operates from a pool of IP numbers. So they might have, I own a VPN, which I don't, but anyway, I own a VPN. 1 second. Number two, a VPN has a pool of IP numbers that are shared between their customers. Now, I don't know how VPNs work. I tried VPNs way back in the day when they were brand new, and I haven't really bothered with them since, because I'm not doing anything I give a shit about, right? Okay, so how a VPN works. Generically, if you have more detailed information that you think might be helpful, absolutely, share it below. Generically, how a VPN works is VPN company A. So you have company A as your VPN provider. They have a pool. What did I use? I used this last time. This is your VPN provider, okay? Now, your VPN has a pool. These are little clips, they're cute. Anyway, your VPN operates with a pool of IP addresses that are then randomly assigned and reassigned and assigned and reassigned among their customers. So if this VPN, this single IP address that your VPN is using might have been shared between 5,000, 10,000 people, 20,000 people over the course of the last however long, okay? So what happens is, if an account gets shut down, it gets shut down at the IP. Now, when Etsy shuts down an account at the IP, so if you're okay, an IP address is I believe it's 12 or 13 digits long. Anyway, so if your IP address is address number 1, and 10,000 people have used address number 1, and somebody else who also happened to use that address got their account shut down for illegal activity or whatever the fuck else they've been doing, Etsy shuts it down at the IP address, you're gone. Your account is immediately shut down. And because it was being run through an IP, now this is my generic understanding, and I could be wrong on this part. Generally, okay, when Etsy shuts down an account at the IP address, there are only a very few reasons why they might be willing to consider giving you your account back. Sharing an IP address through a VPN is not one of them. So if you're minding your own, and they shut down at the IP permanently. So if you're using IP address number 1 today, but somebody who is using IP address number 2 got shut down 6 months ago, and now tomorrow it's your turn to cycle into IP address number 2, that's the day you lose your shop. And I know people are in love with their IP. I know people are starting to get more and more interested in VPNs, and I get it and I understand it. This makes a lot of sense for a lot of reasons, but there is nobody who believes that VPNs are not being also used by people who are just up to shit and shenanigans, right? So if you are going to use a VPN in your day-to-day life, which is fine, that's your business, I'm not judging. But if you're going to use it in your day-to-day life, you might want to make it a point of turning it off when you're accessing Etsy. And it's my understanding, based on some really old and outdated information, so don't quote me as being an expert on this part. It's my understanding that this is pretty common across any company that has selling platforms. So eBay, Amazon. Don't know if it's true or not. I don't operate on those platforms, so I'm not sure. But VPNs, if a person is doing shit using a VPN, then yeah, it's a problem. So, because it can also mask a VPN can be used to mask a whole lot of things. Anyway, and like I said, I'm not going to judge. I'm not going to judge if you're using a VPN or not. Privacy is important to a lot of people, but when you're on Etsy, that's the risk. The risk is that if they shut down your VPN, If they shut down your VPN provider from accessing, then yeah, you have to turn it off. But if you've cycled into an IP address that has previously been banned on Etsy, your shop disappears immediately. Okay, I don't know how long it takes for Etsy to cycle into it. That's part of the problem too. Is that like it could, it immediately could mean that it takes 48 hours, 3 days, a week for the bots to index and realize that you've come in on that. That's why people are like, I don't know why I got shut down, because whatever happened may have happened a while ago, and it just took the background systems time to catch up with it. They got 95 million buyers and 7.5 million sellers. That's a lot of shit to index on a regular basis. Anyway, so VPNs and online selling platforms don't play nice together. Be aware, right? Okay, next one, packing delicate items. This is a difficult one. So, if a package is lost or damaged in the mail, you as the seller are not responsible for it, unless you've done something wrong, like improperly packaged the item, and the customer can demonstrate that reasonably with photos and whatever. So, and sometimes what happens is, just for customer satisfaction, they will just refund the customer from your money if the customer's like, yeah, this showed up broken, blah blah blah. It's a pet peeve of a lot of people. I mean, it's not my favorite thing. It's not my favorite topic to discuss. That, yeah, sometimes even when you're right, the customer will. Etsy does not screw you around for shits and giggles, and does not make it a habit of giving refunds. Well, they do make it a habit of giving refunds. Etsy goes by business best practices, and if a customer is a good customer who spends a lot of money on the platform, then Etsy is going to go, this person is a good customer who spends a lot of money on the platform. Just because they've never done business with you before doesn't make them, they had a problem with you and would like a refund. Well, I don't know what their criteria on this is, but they want the customers to be happy, because they want the customers to keep giving us money so that we can keep earning money, so that we can keep paying our fees. It's catch-22. Etsy's not always going to make decisions on that you like, but making sure that your packages are that your delicate items are packaged properly is really, really important. And yeah, that's just a big one. I have had people say, "Well, it's not my fault that the truck driver was rough with the package," and it's like, it's your fault for not taking that into consideration when you package your product. This is one of those ones where you don't have to like it, but you have to be aware of it, so you have to deal with it. If a customer is complaining that their package was broken because it was not packaged properly, Etsy's probably going to give them the refund. So yeah, be careful how you package your stuff. And again, I'm sending cloth. 99% of what I send is made of fabric with nothing breakable in it. I can't give you any more information than that. Hit the social medias literally. I tell you right now, somebody comes in and goes, I'm trying to package blah, what should I do? 30 people are going to fall all over themselves trying to give you the best possible advice on that. The advice is out there. Listen to it, take it. Because if that's the customer's complaint, and Etsy does have criteria on whether somebody is or isn't a good customer, and they're not going to tell you. They're not going to say, this person's a good customer who spent like 20 grand in the last 2 years with us, so we're going to give them the refund even if we don't think they deserve it. They're not going to have that fucking conversation with you. So you don't know. But making sure that you put that extra time and effort into packaging your breakable items as securely as possible will save you a shit ton of grief down the road. There's a story time. We had somebody in the group. I think I already told this story, but I'll tell it again. We had somebody in the group who was coming in because it's like, oh, my package is, I've had, I forget how many it was. It probably wasn't a lot, but it seemed like a lot at the time. Like maybe she's only had like 20 sales effort, and the last 5, I forget that part of it, but statistically it was a high number. Like, I've just made my 25th sale, but the last 5 products came back, they made complaints that the item showed up broken. So everybody's saying to her, like, statistically, that's not okay. Like, one package out of 1,000 is one thing, but one package in 5, there's a problem with your packaging. No, there isn't. I'm not responsible for loss or damaged mail. And we could not get this girl to understand. Could not get her, and I say we because people were just commenting like, and she's arguing. No, I'm not worried about that. My packages are my stuff is packaged properly. How do I fight this? And how do I fight this? Because Etsy says I have to give them a refund, and it's like, and whether or not the refund argument is an argument as old as time. So yeah, expect to if you have an issue and the customer is asking for a refund, expect to lose that argument once in a while. I'm gonna address that in 2 seconds. Anyway, yeah, we could not get her to understand that based on what she was explaining and how she was explaining to it, it was pretty obvious that there was a problem with her packaging. And she's like, no, I'm not responsible for that. It's like, but yes, you are. If there is a pattern of packaging problems, Etsy will have a problem with you, and they can only have your back so much. So I don't think we ever did get her to understand. And then not too long later, Etsy shut me down. I don't know why. How do I get my shop back? People keep doing this and people keep doing that. People suck. People are horrible. It's like you're not packaging your products properly. So unless you can fix that, there's no point in even trying to talk to Etsy. What did I just say I was going to address? I said I was going to address something and then I just forgot. It fell out of my brain. Fell out of my brain. I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do the thing. Let's do the thing. I got to get better with this camera anyway. Oh, the camera started back up again. That's even better. Okay, I remembered what it was. Okay, refunds. Please, 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 for the love of God, roll a few cents into every item. No, don't bark. My puppies want to bark. I literally turn the camera off and back on again. My puppies are searching for squirrels. Bruno! Leave it. No. Okay, I'm just going to keep going. Okay, so prepare refunds. Refunds are going to happen. You're going to give refunds. You are going to give refunds for a lot of reasons. You're going to give refunds you don't want to give. You're going to be in that position. It's going to happen. Plan for it. One of the biggest things that people recommend that other people just don't want to do, and that is to take a few cents from every sale, set it aside, and everybody says put it in the piggy. Put it in a little piggy bank, mentally, physically, whatever you do, however you handle your money, set a little bit aside so that if something comes up and you have to give a refund, that you are not going to be punishing yourself for it. It's that simple. I take a few cents from every sale and I set it aside. And then if something comes up and I have to do a refund, the money is there and I'm not butthurt. Okay, I can still be butthurt. You can still be butthurt if you have to give a refund, but I'll tell you right now, if the refund is coming from that money that you've set aside a few cents at a time, it's not going to hurt the same way, and your whole attitude resets. It's like, okay, well, that's what I've been setting the money aside for. I guess that's just the cost of doing business, blah, blah, and you're good to go. So refunds are a part of business. Refunds are going to happen, and sometimes you're going to give a refund. Now, this is the thing. If you have I have a no refunds policy. It's like you don't have to live and die by that policy. Having the policy gives you more power, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't or can't give a refund. So, yeah, you got a good customer who keeps coming back for more, and then something goes wrong, and they go, shit, something went wrong. And you go, I have a new refunds policy. That guy's not coming back. How much future income are you losing, right? So you're going to be giving refunds. Are you going to give a lot? I haven't had to give a lot of refunds. Not compared to how many sales I've gotten. And when I've had to give a refund, it's been it's been a super simple process. It's not that big of a deal, right? I can still say no. I have the right to say no, and I have a couple of times. But no, people do not purchase, like, if you're selling online, then ideally you've got some experience purchasing online. Most people do not make online purchases with the intention of returning it. So no, but plan for it. Like, I had a customer, the package eventually turned up, but I had a customer whose package went missing, right? And she's like, hey, my package went missing. And I'm like, oh, wow, that sucks. Well, I'm not responsible for lost or stolen packages. So I gave her the refund. Why did I give her the refund? Because I set aside a little bit from every sale so that it wasn't going to hurt me. personally, which was great. And she was, but that's not why I did it. I did it because she was a good customer. And so it's like, well, I can afford the refund because I've been setting aside a little bit from each sale. So that part's fine. And she's a really good customer. Really good customer. She's even just little inquiries once in a while, get a little chatty, stuff like that. Like, it's kind of funny. You can almost start thinking of some of your customers as friends, or not friends. Yes, friends. I mean, I sell to a social. I sell through a. I get most of my traffic from a community that I am a part of, and a lot of those people in that community are people I very much consider friends. But if this is a person that you already have a good relationship with, who is sending you lots of business, right? Maybe even recommending your friends and stuff like that, that is not the hill to die on. Give her the money, right? So you will be giving refunds. You will end up giving a refund. And sometimes you may be like, I can't afford the refund. Fuck, what do I do? And then you're fucking with somebody because you can't afford the refund, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, set aside. Okay, I can babble about the million and one reasons why you should set aside the money, but let's not ignore the fact that you need to set aside a little bit of money. Refunds will happen, whether you like it or not. Whether it's Etsy giving somebody a refund on your behalf, basically it means they come in, take the money, give the refund. That can happen. It's never happened to me, by the way. It is not as common as people think it is, and the people who are dealing with this a lot, refer back to my comments on stealth advertising and shit like that. I think I've done a full bit. If I haven't done a full video, I need to do a full video on be careful where you advertise. Advertising appropriately to the right crowd, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, so yeah, set aside money, assuming that you will be at least occasionally giving a refund. And like I said, in the 4 years, oh my God, I'm going up onto 5 years now. I've never been in a position where I gave a refund because I had to, where Etsy swooped in and made me and all that stuff. I've never been in that situation. So please don't just assume that everybody's out to fuck you over and get shit for free, because that's not how it works. Anyway, yeah, so set aside a little bit of money. Okay, this is a weird one. I saw this recently, and the way the conversation unfolded made it pretty obvious that this is an ongoing problem that a lot of sellers are dealing with. When you're selling your product, okay, I ship my product globally. It's small, it's light, it's whatever, right? There's a few countries I'm not shipping to right now, but that's mostly to do with still the aftermath of COVID, and there's a few countries where I just have had nothing but problems when I've tried to ship there, but everybody's got their own personal experience with that. Anyway, so you've got a small easy to handle product that you ship globally, but you've got another product that you only want to have available in certain countries. So, and shipping is everybody's personal pet peeve, private nightmare, because your entire business lives and dies by shipping. Unless you're doing digitals, but if you got to put unless you're selling digital downloads or files or whatever, unless you're selling that kind of stuff, something has to go into the mail, right? So you can go in and set up custom profiles on your shipping, and this is very much Etsy specific. So if you're watching this for generic information for your not Etsy business, this won't apply to you. But you can just create the listing, and then when you go down, you have to select your shipping profile, right? That same drop down that lets you select your shipping profile will let you go down and do a custom profile or set up another profile. So you can go in on a per item basis and adjust which profile you want to be shipping under. So you can have one profile that is, I'm in Canada, so I can have one profile that's Canada only and have another profile that's global. I can set one up that I can set up a profile to let me ship to the EU. I can go country by country, region by region, that sort of thing. So yes, you can do it. My shipping profiles are pretty basic, and I set them up a long time ago. So I cannot, I am probably going to be the last person that's going to have useful information on how to do it nowadays. Because, the company changes their shit on a regular basis. So yeah, but you can do it. You just go in, set it up as a custom profile, and be on your way. And then just make sure that as you're setting up each listing, you select which profile you want to use, and you can even name your profiles. So you can have a large breakable item profile, a envelope profile, and that doesn't show up on anything the customer can see, but that'll help you keep track of which profiles. So that way, if you are having different products going to different places, if you're, I'm willing to sell this to this country, but not this country. And it makes sense. Shipping is fucking expensive for some of us, right? Anyway, that's that. That's that. And again, go hit the social medias and ask. When you're asking questions like that, people are going to come back with useful answers. That 5% of ship bags, they're the ones that show up when you're like, the minute you start a post with Etsy sucks, blah, 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 that's where the ship bags are just like, oh, hold my beer. Let me just give you some shitty advice. Anyway, that's one. What's the next one? Hey, there's a credit card scam. Let's go over this one right quick. How am I at? I'm not bad. I think this is going to be under an hour. I literally have nothing better to do while I'm just cutting fabric. I have been cutting fabric this whole time. So yeah, thanks for keeping me company. Anyway, credit card scam. This is a particular credit card scam where somebody contacts you. This is a very specific, not very specific. It's a scam of opportunity. I didn't make that purchase. And then they come to you and they say, I did not make that purchase, blah, blah. Okay, well, a couple of things happen right away. I did not make that purchase, but I need you to give me my money back. Well, if the credit card's been lost, stolen, or otherwise compromised, you can't refund into that card. So what do they want you to do? Well, they want you to send a PayPal. They want you to Venmo them the money. They want you to do something. Because you know why? Because then they come back to Etsy and open a case and get them to give a refund. And then if they're lucky, they also go to their bank and get the money back. They either go to Etsy or go to their bank and get the money back. So they double dip. And generally speaking, I didn't make that order. I have no idea what's going on. I didn't even get this. So generally speaking, they're getting the item and double dipping on the refund. So here's how this one works for you. If somebody is contacting you and claiming that their card has been compromised, stolen, used without their consent, or any other issue right whatsoever, legally, technically, you're not going to lose your shop over it. I just knocked a bunch of shit over. Legally and technically, you're fine. You're in the clear. Don't worry about that shit. Your only response and become a parrot is, for lost or stolen credit cards or other payment issues, please contact Etsy directly. I am unable to help you, as I am unable, as I'm unable to offer you a refund by any other means than your credit card, than the credit card you have used to make your purchase. Done. You are done. No, I want you to Venmo me the money. No, it doesn't work that way. This is a lost or stolen credit card. This is now a legal issue, and you need to contact Etsy directly and the fraud department of your bank. That is the only information that you need to share at that point. No, I just want my money back. I'm sorry, I cannot help you. Can't help them. Technically, you're not supposed to. Legalese, blah, blah, blah. So basically, and now, if you think this could end up blowing up, because they usually get rude. Yeah, F you need to give me my money. Why are you stealing my money? Oh, I get it. You're the one who stole my money. That's usually how this one goes. This one goes, if you don't cooperate, they start accusing you of somehow accessing their credit card and blah, 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 blah. Just call Etsy. Just say, hey, I got a customer that just contacted me. Now, don't delete the message. They can go, nothing is deleted forever. But yeah, so if somebody is claiming, I didn't make the purchase, my credit card was stolen, blah, 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 well then legally speaking, you can't refund to a stolen card. It makes no sense, right? And that's the legalese, that's the shit. Okay, if they pull, and you know what, usually what happens, well, not usually, scams like this are crimes of opportunity, and they're just hoping, and this might be somebody who sends this exact same message to everybody. You don't know, and you're not going to know. But if they're claiming that the credit card was, my daughter stole my credit card, this happened, that happened, it's like, I'm sorry, you'll need to contact Etsy directly. I'm happy to cooperate I'm happy to cooperate in every way possible, but you're going to need to deal with the stolen card issue directly with Etsy before I can help you. And if you have any questions or concerns, or you're afraid that this is going to blow up in your face, just call Etsy to say, hey, I have every intention of cooperating because generally speaking, don't call Etsy freaking out. Just have a regular adult conversation with Etsy and say, hey, this customer just contacted me and told me that their credit card had been stolen. And that is the only thing that you want to say to Etsy. This person has contacted me and saying that their credit card has been stolen, and they have demanded that I Venmo, PayPal, whatever them their money back. And yeah, it is shitty when it happens. And again, think about that. Think about that piggy bank that I just told you a couple minutes ago that you need to keep on hand to cover weird shit like this. Is this a common scam? It's never happened to me. It has happened to people in my group, but my group has 8,000 people in it now. I think it's 8,000 people. It's a big group. It's a lot of people. So with that in mind, I don't necessarily think it's a super common scam. I will say that this is again going back to things like this is going back to stealth advertising and other activity that could make you look desperate. Putting a target on your back, and this is one of the reasons that, for me personally, that's the main reason why I do not participate. I even for the longest time had a sorry, this one's not cutting. This was too dark. I can't see where I need to cut. Gotta get it up in the light. Anyway, yeah, it's I definitely need to do a second video that talks strictly about scams, but. If somebody called you and says that their credit card was stolen and this is what they need from you, they need to contact Etsy immediately. They need to contact Etsy because Etsy has an entire protocol for it, and they also need to contact their bank. And if they're scamming you, they'll usually just go away at that point. And if they're not, if they're scamming you, they'll go away at that point. And if there is something legitimately going on, they'll contact Etsy or their bank. So yeah, don't. And if they're freaking out on you, just call Etsy and say, hey, I've got somebody freaking out on me. They're saying their credit card was stolen. But, like I said, don't send the money out of your own private. Don't Venmo them the money or PayPal them the money, because the minute they're asking for that, that's how you know it's a scam. Anyway, because like I said, they're going to double. They're either going to just take the money and ignore you, or they're going to double dip and go for the refund anyway, or whatever. They are. It's just not. It's not worth the risk to you. And if they are a scammer and they get away with it, they're just going to keep doing it to you, to somebody else. The reason why scammers are so. The biggest issue with scammers is that nobody reports them. I don't want the trouble. I don't want Etsy to think I had something to do with this. Blah blah blah. If somebody is blatantly, and I don't mean just pissing you off. If somebody is like, my credit card was stolen and I need you to refund me through Venmo or PayPal. It's like, report them immediately. I get it. I'm busy. I'm trying to run my business. I haven't got time for this shit. And it's like, yeah, but none of us have time. The reason why you're dealing with this shit is because somebody else didn't have the time to report that person when it happened to them. So that's my personal take. So we're just going to leave that one there. But yeah, so not every request for a refund is a credit card scam, but there are scams out there. Most of them are situations where it's opportunistic. So there's that one. I have time for a couple more. Okay, can I use a branded item to sell my accessories? Like if you're selling doll clothes or something like that, right? Yes, you can. You cannot. Okay, the conversation that I had, somebody came into the group and they were like, I make clothes for Barbie dolls. And I want to know if I can use a Barbie doll and show the clothes on the doll so people know what they're getting. It's like, absolutely you can. But you cannot say Barbie clothes in your listing. That's a trademark violation. So you cannot talk about it in the listing. Talk about the size and dimensions of the doll, sure. And like I said, this is specific to dolls. If you're selling a product that is based on another product that is copyrighted, you cannot blatantly advertise. You cannot use its name. So you can have clothes on a Barbie doll to say, look, I sell these doll clothes, right? But don't have Barbie's dream house and Malibu Barbie's Mustang or whatever that car, her convertible in the thing. Don't be super blatant in your photos that that's what it is. Like if you're if you're selling something that somehow works with this product, right? Don't do that. Do that. Get it? So that the product itself, everybody knows that this is probably either Coke or Pepsi, right? So they know at a glance. Oh, so it's a 710 milliliter bottle holder, right? Holder for 710 milliliter bottles, absolutely. But the minute you do that, it should, because the photos can scan for that. If that gets noticed, you can get in trouble, because now you're using their brand specifically. It's hard to describe, like I said. You can, so yeah, don't say Coke or Pepsi holder, Coke or Pepsi holder container, whatever, in your descriptions, and make it very blatantly clear. Like I said, take off the label, give it a little spin, do whatever. Like, if you're selling doll clothes, don't show Barbie in her dream house where it says Barbie's dream house right on it. But yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Just try to be discreet. Be discreet. Don't be sneaky and slimy about it. That's not what this is all about. But yeah, like I said, don't use the copyrighted terminology in your descriptions, and don't make your photos so blatant that it looks like it's not blatant. Well, yeah, like I said, turn the bottle around. Turn the bottle around. Make sure that you're not showing Barbie in her dream house, and you're good to go. And if there's no way to hide the brand, like, I don't know, maybe this has Coke all the way around it. I mean, that's fine. That is fine. And if they come along and take down the listing, then just redo your photos. Just don't play the "I'll run my business my way" crap, and then just throw it right back up there because fuck you, I know what I'm doing, because they don't like that. But you are generally fine as long as you are not blatantly advertising the brand. You need to advertise doll clothes for a 10-inch doll, right? Bottle holder for a 710 milliliter bottle. And some companies just don't give a shit. Some companies don't give a shit. So if there's a way to research it and find out whether or not they give a shit, then you're good to go. Starbucks, they don't fucking care. Starbucks cup, handmade. You can make your own. It's a big thing. Starbucks cozy, like, they don't care. Okay, they didn't care as of early 2023. Companies do change their minds all the time, so you don't know. Whoop. Get over there. Okay, what's the next one? What am I allowed to do with a review photo? Ooh, now a review photo is a review photo. You're absolutely allowed to use it as a listing photo, but you do have to get the person's permission first. So if a customer leaves a really good, if a customer leaves a review and you happen to really, really like the photo, absolutely reach out and ask them, hey, I absolutely love your photo. Can I use it as one of my listing photos? As long as you have permission, you're fine. If you get permission, just make sure that you make sure you get permission in an Etsy message if possible. Because if it's in an Etsy message, then that is the surefire #1 guaranteed way for Etsy to go, oh, this is real and not just some fake message that you've created, because we can see it coming from this person's account right to you. So there's a trail of breadcrumbs. Paper trail. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, you can, but you have to have permission. So don't fuck around with that. Don't fuck around with your permission, and because it's so easy to get fake permission, get them to ask them in an Etsy message, and then if they respond, yeah, sure, not a problem. If they respond in your Etsy message, just save that message, and you can create your own folders in Etsy messaging. So if that happens, just say photo permissions, right, and then just move the message to there. You can. There's a lot of things you can do with that Etsy messages. You may have to do it on a computer instead of the app, if you want to set up custom messaging options. But you can do it. Next, I'm going to do this on a separate video. How often can I run a sale? You cannot offer a permanent sale. There are anti-competition laws that say that you cannot offer a permanent sale. But what you can do is once a month. I believe Etsy lets you set up a sale once a month. Now you can set up a permanent discount with coupon. I'm not sure. Okay, whatever limits are in the system is fine. Your sale can end today, and then you can go in and just start another sale tomorrow. But you cannot have a permanent sale. If it's a concern, if you're concerned that it could create an issue that might bite you in the ass, like, oh, I'm concerned that Etsy's going to change their policies or start enforcing them differently, right? Then just wait a day or two between sales. But you can pretty much have a sale ongoing all the time, but you cannot have a perma sale. So yeah, you can have a perma coupon. You can have a perma coupon. That part's fine, but I wouldn't advise it because then people won't buy unless it's in the coupon. But that's just my personal opinion. That reminds me, I gotta have a sale soon, but that's okay. I'll figure that out. I gotta get caught up first before I can decide anything. Okay, why is a train a bad idea? Now, a train kind of goes back to stealth advertising. A train is where somebody says, I'm getting married in 6 months. Okay, everybody, drop your links for wedding stuff. And then you just go crazy. You start putting your links on all these things, and you got whatever. That's a great way to get scammed. I'll tell you right now. Basically, you want to advertise your shop, and I get it, but you want to advertise intelligently. Advertising in trains it makes no sense. It makes you look desperate, so it makes you appealing to any scammer that happens to notice you. It really does waste a lot of your time. And guess what? If you're getting a lot of views but no sales, it actually hurts you in the algorithm. So all that work that you're doing to get everybody to go check out your shop can actually make you less appealing to Etsy when it comes time to index you in the search engine. But that's a whole separate argument. But my personal opinion on the trains is that you're putting a lot of time and energy into something that very rarely gets you a sale to begin with. It's not stealth advertising, obviously. It's really freaking blatant. You're being asked to advertise. A lot of times, not a lot of, I want to say this the right way and be respectful. A lot of times, you are taking a risk that the person who is asking for this is just a Karen in training. I mean, that's the wrong word. I always say Kraken. Anyway, you are taking a risk. So I don't join trains just because if you've ever seen a train, take a look at how quickly your shit gets buried and how often the people that are posting links aren't even posting links relevant to what the person is looking for. So that's the thing. I just find that most people used to be really, really popular until people started noticing that it was hurting them in the algorithm. So that alone makes them not worthwhile because, like I said, the algorithm is its own special monster that math is math. People don't math. So the way the algorithm works, if you're getting lots and lots of views, but nobody's actually buying, then Etsy's algorithm says, well, you must not have anything worth buying. So let's just stop. Let's just lower your ranking in the search engines because they don't want to spend all their time highlighting shops that aren't making sales. So that's that one. I'm going to do these 3 as a separate video because they're bad. I'm almost done here anyway. So that's that. That is just my quick little checkup and my quick little hit and run on a whole bunch of topics that just really aren't big enough on their own to have their own videos. Maybe I'll just do the thing. Maybe I'll just I bet you I can edit some of these down into shorts. Just stick them over there as well. Make it even easier for you guys to find the little quickie topics. Anyway, that's that. I'm on my last thing right now, so thanks for keeping me company while I got my shit done. And don't forget to like, subscribe, ring the bell, do the things, because I want to grow the channel. Why not, right? I mean, I don't have a lot of aspirations for being the next big, giant, mega YouTuber, but it'd be fun. It'd be fun to have to see it. It would be fun to see how the channel may or may not grow, but that's just me. I mean, I'm never going to monetize it. I swear too much, so there's that. But anyway, I'm going to let you guys go. You guys have a great time. Thanks for hanging out with me. Like, comment, subscribe, do all the things. Ring the bell so you'll get notifications for future videos. And don't forget, I'm trying to take over the world. Need your help, one subscription at a time. And you guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.